Hey y'all, happy New Year's. It's almost New Year's. It's the last day of 2019, so I figured that I would make a little video talking about how I got into climbing, what my plans are for 2020, and how I plan to go about doing or accomplishing those goals, as well as recapping a little bit on how I got into climbing in the first place and why I'm interested in making these videos. I'm bored and felt like doing it. So it seems like fun. I like the editing and the process of that, and I feel like it'll be good for me to talk about, what I'm thinking for a while. So I'm in my car. As you can see, it's a little Toyota Camry. It's a good quiet place for me to do it, where I don't feel awkward talking about myself in front of, other people at home. So yeah, I'll be probably doing most of my videos from in here or something, so, sorry. But yeah, initially I was terrified of heights so in 2010, in the past 10 years, I was, was I 13 and 14? I was barely a freshman. I was transitioning from middle school to my freshman year. In middle school, I went to a Boy Scout camp where I actually cried for 30 minutes as I froze on a rappel that was only 12 feet. So yeah, I froze. It was super cold at this Boy Scout camp. There's a 12-foot rappel wall, and I cried for 30 minutes as I tried to come down it. It was not pretty. It was very embarrassing. The instructors were great. Everyone was great, but I was just a total wuss about it. So yeah. The only prior experience I had to that was maybe when I was really little at a Dick's Sporting Goods. There was a big climbing wall there. The employee shoved me into some tiny climbing shoes that hurt my feet way too bad, and I made it maybe 10 feet up the wall before I just couldn't do it. I got scared and came down, and yeah, I just didn't do very well. So that's pretty much all the prior experience I had with it. There was a time in high school where I think I went bouldering once or twice with some friends at like a gym that had opened around that same time, called First Avenue Rocks, RIP. I think they just closed this year, actually, so that's kind of sad. But it was a tiny bouldering gym that was pretty small, but it was a lot of fun. Had some good stuff set there. But yeah, I made it up a couple like V1 V1s or whatever up there. Nothing impressive. But yeah, I still wasn't fond of getting high up the wall. Those walls were so small, comparatively to other things that I've done. So yeah, that was my pretty much experience all through up until the end of high school. In college, around 2014, 2015, that's when I started doing a little bit more climbing. Started seeing a girl that was interested in it, so I went to go boulder with her a bit more, and then I got a job as a zipline guide. And working in a zipline, you kind of get over your fear of heights fairly quick. That's where I learned how to belay and use ropes and feel comfortable with equipment and being up at heights. And then a couple years after that, High Point Climbing in Birmingham opened up, and it's a really big gym, 55-foot walls. I started working there, and they taught me how to sport climb, and that's when I got a lot more comfortable being up at height and, trusting in the equipment and all that. So that was probably around 2016 or so. And then from there, the end of 2017, I moved to Colorado. Stayed there for most of 2018, doing a bunch of sport climbing with some friends out there in the Rockies, and that helped a ton as well. And then I moved back home and came back to then moved to North Carolina to work at camp, where I began working as a climbing instructor for their rock wall. So I'd done a bunch of stuff, and then I'm set to go back next year. And in that time, it's crazy how I've had the chance to progress from being totally terrified, absolutely just bawling my eyes out to now, you know, encouraging other kids that were my age that there's nothing to be worried about, and that everything, you know, that I can go through all the motions that I went through with them, and you know, just reassure them and get them more introduced to climbing at a young age, because it's so beneficial. So much movement and all the motor skills involved, and just how great it makes you feel whenever you accomplish that goal. It's fantastic for setting goals and accomplishing things that you didn't think you could. And there's just always room for improvement, which I love. I love challenging myself. I love trying hard on things and having something to be focused about, and it's just great. As of right now, yeah, so I think that's pretty much my journey in a nutshell. I could probably go on a little more in depth about that, but I don't want to make this video too long. So maybe one day in the future I'll go a little more in detail about things. But yeah, it's just been, climbing's been great. It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that in the next year that I get a chance to really improve on my climbing, and I really want to make it into a career somehow. Ultimately, I want to get into climbing coaching, working at a gym or with a team, teaching kids or adults or whoever to how to climb better, more efficiently, you know. But I feel like I'm still a few years off from that, and I want to get into guiding as well, which I might have a chance to do this summer if that pans out. And that'll be super cool as well. So I'm just really excited about 2020. This next decade, I feel like I'm going to be able to accomplish a lot in it. And yeah, I'm just stoked on life. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Thanks for tuning in.